Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite paranormal investigator. My name is Tim Sudano. This is Paranormal Insight, and I'm thrilled to be back with you all live. Please do join us in the chat if you can. I will put up the address right now. So go there. You should be able to join us, see the live show, and join us in the chat there. You can also do it through the UPRN YouTube channel if you prefer. That's fine as well. Today's topic is, in general lore, I'm doing different segments on different things, but today we're going to start with vampires. We're going to pick up with Vampires Part 2 next week with AP Sylvia. But today, we have the lady herself, the one who knows it all, Ms. Michelle Desrochers. Welcome, Michelle, to the show.
You give me way too much credit. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Thanks for being on the show. So we're talking about lore. We're talking about different things, and everyone's favorite lore, favorite creature, past, present, and likely future is the vampire. I mean, this creature fascinates us, captures our imaginations, gives us terrible, terrible nightmares sometimes, especially when I was a kid. But now I write about them. So
yeah,
there you go.
It's a great thing. It's mind bending because you get into you start from early on, but then you can get into the whole hypothesis that they're an extraterrestrial race.
Yes, that's very interesting. That's actually in my book, in my third book. That's coming out.
There we go.
But a little self-plug, TOL book 3 coming out soon. But our legend of the vampire actually has its roots way back in history. I mean, back to the first civilizations.
Yeah.
Way back then, they were having this apparent problem. So
yes.
I don't know. It starts, for me, personally, it started with the Hammer films. And, you know.
So the horror movies.
Oh, the good old-fashioned horror movies.
Christopher Lee, one of the best.
Christopher Lee and Mr. Cushing, Peter Cushing.
Yeah, Peter Cushing.
Oh my gosh. It was so funny to see them do battle on screen and then later on see them as buddies. In behind-the-scenes clips and interviews and stuff like that. Yeah, it was great. That was a bit of a mind blower for me as a young man. It was like, oh yeah, they're actors. I get it now.
Yeah, they're not real. It's so totally devastating. You find out.
Kudos to their acting because they really. I thought for sure they actually hated each other in real life.
I realized no, it's all.
Now they're buds, or they go to each other's homes, have dinner, stuff like that.
Yeah,
but it goes way back for the first civilizations. It shows up in lore from way early on. I think it's even there's a few tablets and steels that refer to it.
Yes,
vampirism and vampires in general, and they have various names. Like in ancient Greek culture, the Greek mythology, they're known as the Lamia.
Yes.
Among other things, and they had several different types of bloodsuckers that came along and took life to one degree or another.
Yeah, so the most famous, of course, are the Strigoi of Romania.
Oh, the Strigoi,
Strigoi, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, you look into old graves and such, even in Poland, they have found old graves where they have literally cut the head from the body and put it down by the ankles, and they have like a big stone in between the teeth. It's crazy, the extent that they went to. And having spent time in Romania, just looking at the whole lore of everything, and just getting to know some of the older generations compared to the whole commercial side of Dracula, which we can thank Bram Stoker for that gem. But it's just there's just so much. If you think Bram Stoker wrote that book and never stepped foot in Romania ever, and yet he's got it all down pat.
Well, it kind of speaks to how well known the lore is on all that. I mean, there are the rules, if you will, of the vampire. So, there is that interesting aspect, and it hasn't really changed over the centuries at all. And I mean, from olden times when they were in Sumerian steels and what have you.
No, for sure, for sure. Every culture had its own, had its own version. The ancient Egyptians had it. It
Sure.
goes back to Mesopotamian times. I mean, we're going back thousands of years for sure. But it goes back Africa. I mean, name it.
Name a
Every-
continent, name a country.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really big in myth. It's believed that it's one of the oldest and most prevalent beings, in the world of mythology. And the origins, by the way, apparently remain unknown or have for thousands of years
Yeah.
as to how far back it really, really goes. Right. And the myth states, of course, like, oh, no, only a vampire can make another vampire. Therefore, who created the first vampire is what I want to know. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the myth. Where did it start? It's like that whole theory of creation.
Yes.
The
I mean,
creator
from the beginning, like I was saying, the first civilizations talked about this in their writings.
Yeah.
And who knows how long the spoken word mythology was around. I think even the Native Americans here have it, have a vampire in their lore. So it literally is a global phenomenon that has been around for thousands upon thousands of years. I want to say a quick hello and shout out to Sherry Madigan. Thanks for being here and on time today. Thank you, Sherry. Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Welcome.
Hello, Carol Ann. She's on right after you.
Right on. Carol Ann, thank you so much for being here. And Patsy Foister.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. So those are three of them we got in our chat right now.
Yeah.
And once again, if those of you are simply watching, I added an extra period to my thing. Ignore that in the scrolling little thing. It's the bottom. YouTube.com/@paranormal_insight/streams. Join us in the chat if you're so inclined. We'd love to see you here.
There we go.
So okay. One of the first things, and I actually did a segment on this a gazillion years ago. It feels like it was more like last year around October time, where we explored these things, and it was baffling that all these cultures across the globe had the exact same thing happening, and they don't always show up as a person. It was it Laos or what's that other one? Starts with a B, that little country over there.
Libya?
No. No, South Pacific area.
I was just going to go down the whole go down the list. Yeah.
Oh, I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, begins with a B, South Pacific area. They have a shadow creature that snakes around. And if your shadow intersects its shadow, it sucks all the blood out of you. I mean, some of the weird transitions that happen, conditions rather, that
lots
have to be
of lore though, lots of oral
Lots of
history
lore.
As to what these things are, But I don't know. To me, the fact that it starts in mythology, this is something that it starts somewhere, So let's say if you're going back into the Mediterranean. There's a story about a man named Ambrogio, and he went to Delhi, Greece, which I've been. It's an incredible place. But the legend states Delhi. He claims that he was cursed by the god Apollo, who told him that his skin would burn should it touch sunlight. So that's kind of like, because that happens allegedly with vampires. He proceeded to gamble his soul away to Hades. And then Apollo's sister Artemis went on to curse him by telling him that his sin would burn if he ever touched silver. So you see where we're going with this? Wow. We've got the sunlight, we've got the silver. So she was also responsible for giving him immortality, super strength, and speed. So now this is like when we're talking about origins, like where to come from. So this is basically sounds to me like being a full-fledged vampire of lore as to what we all, know and love, through film. But so now he was in Italy, he goes back to Italy and creates the first vampire clan. So further misstates that one could become a vampire if they were once A, a werewolf, B, practiced sorcery, if they were an illegitimate child of parents who were themselves illegitimate and died before baptism. So you got that thrown in there, right?
Okay.
So yeah, right. So it gets really crazy when you start getting into all of these little stipulations as to how vampires happen.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if a cat jumped on your corpse before burial, this is something that's in the UK and Japan. That would be like, oh, this could happen. A baby born with teeth or stillborn, or if a bat flies over you, this is a Romanian thing.
Okay.
If you were excommunicated by the Orthodox Church in Greece, or the seventh son of a seventh son, like it gets,
wow,
it gets really strange.
That gets hyper specific.
But that's just it. It does. But let's talk about the logical thing called porphyria, which is a blood disorder, right?
Yeah.
Which remains incurable, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
A treatment can be supported through pain control, fluids, voiding drugs, things like that.
Right.
But here are the symptoms. Okay, here we go. And tell me if this is mistaken identity as far as spoken lore, or if we've been dealing with this condition. 1, sensitivity to sunlight.
Yeah.
Okay. Fangs. Blood drinking. Aversion
they get hyperanemic then.
Yeah, aversion to garlic. Reflections are not seen in the mirrors. So people who are afflicted
through
with this,
porphyria?
Yeah, it says, those who suffer with the disease are said to avoid mirrors due to the continued destruction of facial features caused by poor oxygenation.
Okay.
Right. Other diseases considered would have been tuberculosis, pellagra, which is like the thinning the skin, I guess. But so you start looking into that. It's sort of like how much of that sort of got put aside. I mean, the word vampire itself didn't even appear in the English language until like roughly, 1730, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And it was some poem. So, I mean, the first earliest accounts of vampires are found in ancient Sumerian and Babylonian myths, which go back 4,000 BC.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
I know. So, I mean, where does it all come from? There's a lot of a lot of tales as to people who are believed to have been vampires. But if you're just factoring in, medical conditions, mythology, and the fact that the word didn't even really exist for the 1700s, which amazingly kind of falls into our culture.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does for sure. Well, you can look, if you take the anthropological perspective and you say, okay, we were telling tales around the campfire outside the cave. I mean, I'm going super way back now.
Yeah.
And we kept telling these tales, and they kept passing it down. Yeah, mankind advanced, but the story still held. Yeah. And the fact that that story is still held after all that time informs me, at least, that they saw something, perhaps someone with porphyria, in ancient times, performing these acts. Like, I got to drink blood, open a vein,
Yes.
And,
yes. Yes.
It was so, that could very easily be the case. It is mistaken identity, very easily. There's also the other side of things. How did all these interesting little conditions get noted? Like you said, a bat flies over you during birth. A black cat lands on your corpse before you're buried.
I know.
I mean,
yeah,
those are extremes, but at the same time, you're still wondering. It makes you ponder. It's like you're telling me someone actually made this observation. Was it a one-time thing, or were they a little more scientific about it and said, no, the last 3 times a cat landed on the dead person before they were buried, they popped up as a vampire.
I know. Well, maybe they started having issues after the person's death and said, well, this happened when this guy was, or woman was passed away. So, then this happened. And the only thing we could think of is we saw this happen.
Right.
This bat, flew over top of him or something. They do the same things with crows and ravens. Okay, if you see 1, it means this. 2, it means this. Now, if 1 flies into your house, while you're on your deathbed or while you're sick, you're going to die for sure because it flew in. And like, you know, like I think it falls into the old folklore, old wives' tales or things like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
I totally agree. Big hello to Justin Consigliere. Hello there. I hope I said your name correctly.
Hello.
A fellow
Yes.
Italian here, and I probably botched the name. My apologies, Justin, if I did.
Yes.
So
You know, it's a thing.
it's a crazy thing. I mean, you're taking and it's was it Stoker himself, or am I thinking of someone else? Where he was actually anemic at one point and actually drank cow's blood in order to maintain himself. Like he'd go down to the butcher and get a big mason jar full of it.
I actually talked to my friend Dacre, who's his great grandnephew, because Dacre has all that whole backstory, and he has original notes and stuff from like his grandmother and things like that.
That's so cool.
Like the Bram's mom and things like that. Yeah, it's all well documented within the family still to this day.
That's amazing. Gotta get him on the show.
I can hook you up.
Woohoo! That'd be great.
Yeah, while you're on your vampire thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, lore in general. I mean, there's a lot of things that tie into vampirism as well.
Yes.
I mean, we have natural creatures that do feed on blood, from the small, like ticks and fleas and stuff like that, and mosquitoes to bats.
Yes.
And there are other, what's that? Is it a lizard I'm thinking of? That latches on and just sucks the blood out of you. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the lizard. You know.
Yeah, I think it's a lizard.
If you're not a Komodo, that's gonna take you out completely. I don't know.
No, it's not. Komodos they're really lazy. They bite you if they can, and then they let go and watch you die.
Yeah, nice. Nice and quick.
Yeah. A leech. Yeah. Thank you, Patsy.
Yeah,
a
there we
leech.
go. Leech is good.
Leech is a good version.
Yeah.
So, I mean, was it pure imagination? I mean, because there was a lot of cross speculation, no real science for a very long time that people were making just basic observations, like the basilisk, for example, is thought to be a lizard and a chicken back in ancient Greece mixed. No.
Yeah.
It was just an iguana.
It's an iguana.
Or something approaching
That's it. Yeah.
And that's true. It's like, they saw the frill and they thought it was a chicken lizard. It wasn't.
That's nice.
But so maybe that's what we're seeing to one degree or another. You could be looking at they were bitten by a bat or something, let's say.
Yeah. Yes.
And now we are going to have to watch out for him because he's going to want to drink blood too.
Like a mosquito.
Mosquito, totally.
The vampires are just terrible. But yes.
Yeah.
But they also have what I think sometimes people don't realize too, is there is a belief system that there is a spirit or demon that was not properly buried and returned as a vengeful spirit to suck the life force. So from the living. So what I have to ask is how much of this, when we think life force, blood is the life.
Yeah.
So how much of this may have been mistaken for just bloodlust or also, essence? Today we would call them psychic vampires.
Oh, energy vampires. Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah.
Same idea, taking the life force, obviously if you're a spirit, it would be more along the lines of an ethereal, connection. But
I actually saw a documentary on vampires done. Actually, a friend of mine was cast in it as one of these actors one of these people who, they portray someone who was really there, that type of thing. Reenactment thing.
Reenactment.
And in the documentary, they actually did a little scientific thing. It's like there's this club in New York, vampire club, full on, and but it's strictly for energy vampires, and they'll ask permission. Can I feed on you?
Yes.
And so they did that. What's that thing where you press your hand up against a glass and they get an electrical reading?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so they did that before, and then after that reading was severely diminished after the vampire fed. So
Wow.
it was
Yeah.
interesting. It was interesting.
I mean, if you think about it, sometimes, you'll meet people who I don't even think are aware that they are draining you of your energy.
Yeah.
You ever find sometimes you're just out with somebody and honestly, you feel bloody exhausted and it's like, God, person sucks the life out of me. I think it's well, one of those sort of scenarios. And I
Yeah.
don't think it's like always intentional in these cases. People are just the type of energy that they have.
Yeah.
And if you've got maybe really high energy, you're not properly grounded. I always tell people when I work with them, besides that, I said, look, it's harder for, let's say, spirits or other beings to attach to your energy. If you ground your energy, you're just making them fight a little harder. And sometimes that they can't attach at all. I think it just falls into all of that. Some people have very attractive energy.
This is true.
Right? So it's not
This is true.
necessarily always about the blood, but blood is the life.
Blood is the life. I was going to go back real quick about how, Ethereal Encounters says this.
Yes.
I noticed that high energy people can suck the life out of you too.
It's true. It's true.
It's very true. I was going to go back to to olden times where, like the bat thing. Yeah, there is that. But some ancient warriors back in the day, they would drink the blood of their enemies.
It's true.
And I don't mean just Vlad. Vlad wasn't the only one to do that. It was something on the battlefield that you did to, empower you. And it wasn't always like, it happened across the entire world at one point or another. That was a tradition, which I find very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, I think a lot of things with Vlad was also misconstrued. He got really a bad rap for impaling people. People also have to remember that he spent the first many years of his childhood into being a young adult with the Turks. The Turks were notorious for impaling people. It was happening all over Europe. This wasn't just something that Vlad invented. So, I'm going to be the king of impaling. It didn't work that way. This is something that the Turks did. And he went on to continue what he was taught. He was a brilliant war strategist and a very small army.
Yeah, he was.
He did what he had to do, and he was very well revered by his people. I think you also looking in at German propaganda of the time, the Germanic areas are saying, well, he sat there and dined and drank blood. We don't know necessarily, to my belief, that anything that I've looked at. And I mean, one of my dearest friends is Romanian, so she grew up with the entire lore.
Oh.
And I don't know that he actually did any of that stuff, but a lot of the propaganda, tells you that he did.
Well, it makes sense that he would borrow that from the Turks
It's how he was conditioned. Yeah.
Right. Whether he dined on their blood is a different story. I mean, I think that's where things kind of get made up and become propaganda or possible propaganda.
Yes.
But it's still an interesting note that he was kind of.
But it's that propaganda that paved the way for Bram Stoker to write.
Yeah, exactly.
On, without ever naming him, based on, on Vlad Tepes.
For sure. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, there. Now I lost my train. Good times.
Good.
What was I going to say? Well, Patsy brings up, it actually echoes exactly what you just said, that Vlad had to protect his territory, and the only way to do that was scare the crap out of everyone around him. So,
but it worked.
And it worked.
It worked.
I don't want to end up on a pike.
Oh man, there's stories, that he did. Nobody messed with him. He was a war strategist.
It's great.
It was this vampire. No, I don't know. Believe that he was a vampire or practiced vampirism in any way. He was a war strategist. He was brilliant. He was, he ruled with an iron fist. But with that being said, he was also said to be fair if you were truthful, there's a lot about that
Yeah.
I think that people need to really do their research on it. And sometimes the best way is, talking to the locals. He was a hero to them. There are monuments to him in different places. And
Yeah.
you can talk to a good medium and just talk to him and ask him.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good idea.
That's a
Heidi
thing.
made it to the show.
That's a
Woohoo! Done the surgery, made it home. All right, Heidi,
surgery.
that's fantastic. Happy to hear that.
But I mean, one of the most famous stories that comes to light, and of course, because we do base ourselves out of New Orleans. So let's talk about Count Saint Germain. Now, what is really interesting with the Count Saint Germain story is that it is believed that even Einstein sort of had a theory that this sort of based on alchemy, right? Because Count Saint Germain was actually an alchemist, and it's believed he may have discovered the secret of immortality, right? So because he was very accomplished, and I think that's even what Albert Einstein accidentally proved the validity of the Count Saint Germain methods for achieving immortality because of his theories and common in the ancient wisdom that the Count, was doing. But in fact, Einstein's famous equation of E equals MC2, right, which is a scientific echo of the Hermetic principle, as above, so below, that kind of thing. So what is interesting, though, is it is believed that this is what the Count Saint Germain did. Now, records show that he was born late 1600s, like roughly 1690s, but the origin really is unknown. He was allegedly born the son of, and I'm going to butcher this, Rathkosi II, Prince of Transylvania. Okay. So, yeah. So we're going back there. This is like post Vlad, but there are some who believe he actually goes back to the time of Christ. If you could, like, I thought
he does personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a belief. There are those who believe it, but can we substantiate? I don't know. But they even believe that he attended the wedding at Cana, where Jesus turned water into wine, and the account, of course, isn't taken really seriously, but he was believed to have been present at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, Constantine, right?
Yeah.
And he's appeared many times throughout history, with the most recent being in the 70s. I've since read that it was more like even into the 80s and even maybe more recent throughout the New Orleans area, which I'll get to.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Always appears as a 45-year-old man. Now, in the 1700s, he traveled in very upscale circles. He was known by many famous European people, such as Casanova, Madame de Pompadour, King Louis XV, Catherine the Great, Voltaire, Anton Mesmer. And that's just to mention, a few. But he spoke many languages, was very refined. But here's something else. He's been linked to secret societies such as the Rosicrucians, Freemasons, Illuminati, Order of the Templars, the Knights of Light, Society of the Asiatic Brothers, like you name it. He was there because it spanned all the time. So in 1779, he went to Hamburg, Germany, where he befriended Prince Charles of Hesse-Kassel. He remained there as a guest for 5 years, according to their local records. So this is actually verified in their records, and where he apparently died on February 27, 1784. So I'm just reading some notes that I have put away here for some other research. But anyway, but in it actually says in 1785, a year later, records show that the Freemasons chose him as a representative for a convention that year. So we fast forward to 1821. It's believed that he took on another identity and called himself Major Fraser, who then disappeared without a trace. Now, he resurfaced yet again as himself around 1880 to 1900. And there's actually a genuine photo of Helena Blavatsky and Saint Germain together. I, of course, have been trying to find said photo. His most recent appearance, they say, was 1972, which was in Paris, where a man named Richard Chanfray announced that he was the Count and appeared on television to try and prove his claim. So Chanfray committed suicide around 1983 and surfaced in New Orleans again, like
Of course.
something like 2002, something like that, or 1992. It was like more recent times.
Huh.
And he said they dubbed him the infamous Louisiana vampire and went on by the name of Jacques Saint Germain and lived at 1041 Royal Street. And a lot of people in New Orleans, this is a story Joe told me personally, people in New Orleans say that there is, obviously there's a lot of places that have underground, vampires. Some believe they're authentic. Some believe that they just live the lifestyle. But people who have visited, especially the French Quarter, have reported seeing beings that defy the law of gravity and being able to jump up high on buildings or down, and that they'll sort of enchant people, but the whole method of how they move is completely different than an average human being.
Okay.
So the reason Anne Rice loved her New Orleans, I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot in there. You know what I mean?
Is.
So
Well,
I don't know.
There was that nunnery way back when too that apparently imported a vampire.
See,
who knows?
I know.
But there, and then more recently, I saw something. I think it was on Instagram. This influencer, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
Tells the story secondhand where it's Mardi Gras and these two friends or these two girls are partying, having fun, and they meet this dapper gentleman. And he says, I know the quarter well. How about I give you a little tour? We'll hit the different bars and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And, well, okay. And they just kind of go for it. And they, every single time they go into someplace, they walk through the threshold, and then, but he hangs back. And they think he's being gentlemanly. And I say, no, come on in. Oh, thank you so much. And then,
I was waiting for the invite.
So that pattern keeps cropping up, and why you two look exceptionally tired. Your hotel's on the other side of the quarter. Why don't you come to my place? It's right over around the corner here.
Yeah.
And one of the friends, the first friend says, sure. And she's lit like crazy, totally drunk off her butt. And the second friend says, you know what? No. Because something about him was starting to put her on edge.
Yeah.
And so he pleads with them and says, are you sure? Yeah. Okay. That's okay. That's
Very
fine.
interesting. Very
And the one girl gets sick in the corner, and her friend attends to her. And when they turn back around, he's gone.
Oh boy. So maybe there's something to be said.
It could still be the same guy. We don't know. But
because he's just sort of missing. Like he resurfaces every now and then. But I guess you'd have to, if you think about it, right? I mean, if you're there for like 100 years, or they're there for 50 and you're not aging,
right?
People might be sort of wondering. So then you drop off for a while, then you resurface again, 50 or 100 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you look like that guy. Do I? Oh.
Don't I know you from somewhere? Like 50 years back? I was like,
nope,
maybe. Not me.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. But I also think that when people come in, you have all of these ancient traditions and folklore from the old world that make its way, when people come to the new world, that belief system still tends to follow. I mean, I have read accounts where this has happened with werewolves, vampires. One of these people, I believe, was Mercy Brown. Right, the story of Mercy Brown. She is known as New England's last vampire. How many were there before her is what I want to know. New England's last vampire,
Okay.
located in Exeter, Rhode Island. She died in 1892 at the age of 19 from consumption or tuberculosis. And there, at the time, there was this large vampire craze or panic in this area.
Mm.
And people believed that she was feeding off of humans after she died. So her body was exhumed, her heart was removed and burned. And the ashes, of course, were fed to her sick brother to ward off evil. Can you imagine that? Like,
Here,
freaking
here, Ben, have some ashes.
I know, but the thing is that they don't really specify that everything. Apparently, things stopped after that, but they don't really specify for sure. So again, are we dealing with the ancient, or not the ancient, but the old world mindset? Because I don't know how you can get away with some of this stuff, like in the new world, like.
Well, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, even today, I think you're absolutely right. I think your theory is spot on. Even today, in modern day Greece, there is a sect. I shouldn't call it a sect because it's a pretty sizable amount of the population. Actually, something like 15-20% actually. Technically, even if only technically, still worship the old gods of Olympus.
For sure they do, but they do.
Yeah.
That's a whole other show that
that is a whole
rabbit hole that might get us booted off.
Right.
We have to go into private mode after that. We can do it.
Let's do it. No, we're busy.
It's an uncensored show, Tim. But but I do think that there are a lot of cultures, even in modern times, that do go by the ancient, or their the theories of everything, the ancient lore, oral history, obviously of their ancestors.
That makes sense. I mean, I don't see why you would completely abandon it. I mean, look at my religion is Catholicism. That's what I came up in. That's still around after 2,000 years.
I know.
I know. If that can happen, why wouldn't the other religions have a similar following? Even the ones
absolutely. Absolutely. I also think that there's stuff that is still reported. Like, there's just stuff that we're never going to have all the answers to. Have you ever heard of the Highgate vampire? That's a very famous one in England. No.
Educate
much around that. Oh my God, the Highgate vampire out of England. This is something that is still to this day people believe is a thing. And it actually came down to a couple of researchers even sort of like knuckling down against one another with some of this stuff. Yeah, it was a really big deal. It goes back to the 60s or 70s. You can find stuff on it. Like there were shows done about it because it was really big. But there were wide reports that started coming into the British Psychic and Occult Society about this tall, dark figure with hypnotic red eyes that had been sighted in and around London's Highgate Cemetery. So it was sighted. This thing was sighted by a whole lot of local witnesses. It was just cool when you get a lot of witnesses. Some who claimed that they were attacked, which they called this menacing figure, and this thing would disappear without a trace after the reported confrontations, the attacks. So it was pretty persistent. Like the frequency of how often these sightings were happening was starting to raise questions. So I guess the president of the Occult Society, David Ferrant, everybody knows about David Ferrant, who is familiar with the Highgate vampire, was called to investigate this. Not long after that, which roughly 1970, the press picked up the story, mainly due to the claims that a lot of people were attempting to cash in on this investigation, so on and so forth. But anyway, they claimed that it was a blood-sucking vampire. So not surprisingly, it didn't take long. Events at Highgate got totally out of hand, and there were amateur vampire hunters, filmmakers, and it resulted in David Ferrant being taken to court, and he appeared and got charged with being in Highgate Cemetery one night with the intentions of hunting down vampires. I don't know how you get charged for that, but he was charged for that specific thing, hunting down a vampire. Even though, he was not in that, he wasn't there.
Show me that law.
I know. It just kept things, it kept the hype going, right?
Yeah.
So the worldwide press got involved and they established that the apparition's identity as a full-fledged vampire. So, because the guy got acquitted, right? So anyway, it got really crazy and it went
Yeah.
on and on and on. But there were court cases after this that happened again from 70 to 74, in which Mr. Ferrant was involved, not directly connected with Highgate, although the Highgate vampire was often brought into them. So it got weirder and weirder and
Wow.
weirder. But, it almost felt like being back into the witchcraft trials. Like
Yeah, no
they were
kidding.
really going hard after him. But in 1997, following a massive speculation about the so-called Highgate vampire and the misguided controversy,
Yeah.
he accepted the offer by a local historian to literally just, he took over a group called the Highgate Vampire Society, and its purpose at the time was to sort of a repository, I guess, to collect some of the history and data concerning the Highgate vampire, like to really get in there and say, okay, was this a one-off, or did it only last a year or two? Like they were just trying, and even to this day, there are a lot of people who are trying to, prove or disprove. Who was this guy? What was this thing? Where did it come from? Where did it go? Is it still ongoing to this day? Like it's a real touchy thing.
Was it Jacques Saint Germain the whole time?
Who knows? Before he came to New Orleans, I don't know.
Right.
But but it's interesting because these were accounts that happened before David Front and the Occult Society got involved at all. This was happening. They got involved because there were so many eyewitnesses and experiencers who said they'd been attacked that they called to the Occult Society to say, look, something's going on here. Check it out.
Yeah.
So that might be worth something for your upcoming book.
Yeah.
The Highgate Vampire. Yeah.
Okay. I'm reading that story.
I know. But you see what I mean? How it's just so, it's so easy to fall into some of the old.
Yeah, very easy.
Stuff,
right? that was the 70s, man. That's relatively modern. That kind of hysteria surprises me, actually.
I know. 60s and 70s just started happening. And, Patsy mentions a vampire killing kit. Throughout the world, vampire kits were made. You could buy them now just for, decor or this is your thing. But
giggles, yeah.
I actually had met a collector who bought out, I own a couple of his pieces actually, who bought out the old Museum of Oddities in Niagara Falls.
Oh, fun.
And when he bought this out, he kept a lot of pieces. And I had filmed with him at one point and he had it. And when he showed it to me, he goes, now this one is an authentic one, which was at the time, maybe 200, 250 years old.
Okay.
And this one, I think he said came from South America. So
really,
so a long reach, yeah. But it was interesting to see it, just to see like this authentic.
Now, was it different from a European kit? Do you remember?
Well, they all do them fairly similar, but I think they will add things based on maybe their area or belief system as far as maybe prayer goes, or but they all have, the stakes, they all have like the,
concentrated garlic.
Yeah. It was very interesting. The hammer, and it had different vials, which I guess would have had holy water or maybe some, who knows? So, silver pieces, crosses. Iron was very popular for protection, like real iron, not not a lot of the crap filled stuff that we have this day and age. Like when we had our Gothic home, it was built in 1872, so they used iron nails. And when we were doing some restoration, we found all kinds of stuff. So I had given some to friends, and you put them over your doorways, and they worked the same way as old iron horseshoes. And it said to ward off fairies, said to ward off evil spirits or evil ethereal beings or anyone that wanted to with the intent of harm. So it's a thing.
Sorry, I just caught Pansy's comment about what they're Jewish.
I know.
The cross won't work.
But I guess that's
Whip out the Star of David, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what I mean as far as depending on where the kit was put together, would essentially be equipped with whatever the belief system. I truly think a lot of it is intention for sure,
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, especially when it comes to repelling things or casting things out. You're dealing with a lot of very specific stuff related to your personal intention toward that effort.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I would think it's not just your belief system. I think that's why I say within the area, what was the belief system then? Because doesn't the vampire, I mean, you take something's head off, it's going to do the job.
Pretty much.
But, but to repel something, they would also have to believe in that to a degree, I guess,
That's true. That's a very good point, actually, to if you believe, you have to you can't have that intention without the belief.
I believe it, therefore it is so.
Therefore it is so, right?
Vampires okay.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've even said that in films. It's like the cross doesn't work on a vampire at one point, and it's because you don't believe.
That's true.
That's like,
but what's very interesting is how the traditional movie vampire, for example, how it works. Some of them, you can't walk around at night or during the day. You can't eat normal food, but yet in some cultures, yes, they can walk around during the day. I mean, I think we could look at Bram Stoker's Dracula, where Gary Oldman walked around in the daytime. They can't, and in some cases they can eat normal food, but they still have to have the blood.
Right.
So, it's just very interesting to me how it varies from culture to culture.
It is. Carol Ann made an interesting point about invitations. Interesting how you have to invite, she puts in quotes, them in, just like everything else we do in life. Invite it all in. And it's like, okay, that's a fair point.
Tim, I mean, if you're into the paranormal, which we, obviously we are, it falls into some of the malevolent entities or alleged demonic entities that they can come in, but when you make the invite to bring them in, whether it's through communication, Ouija boards or pendulums or whatever the case may be, if you're initiating contact, I always used to say, any form of communication is an invitation, right?
That's a very good policy.
Because they're harder to get rid of if there's been an invite. Which is why children often get targeted as well, because they can be fooled into making that invite.
Oh, yeah.
With certain beings and shape-shifting and things like that. So then you've got to get on the child's mind and say, how do we renege and how do we remove that invitation? Easiest way is, did you ask your mom? I'm 4. Did you ask your mom if your little friend could come over? Did he ask his mom? You better go home and ask your mom. And my mom said no. And it's just like a reverse psychology, but it works.
Okay, if it works, it works.
Well, the person who makes the invite is usually the one that has to uninvite. So how do you do that with a 4-year-old?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't get my mom's permission to get out.
This is just exactly. Mom said no, and but it's a way of doing it so there's no fear instilled into the child.
No, that's a good point.
But it is interesting that again, the invite sort of thing still applies in some circles of high strangeness. Yeah.
Oh, very much so. Hello to all of our people who have joined us recently. Just now, Mish came in.
Yeah.
Sparky came in.
And, yes.
Did we say hi to? We said hi to Heidi, didn't we?
Yes.
I think we did. Okay.
Yeah.
So big hello to those guys. And those folks, fine folks. No,
it's great.
Mish, I got to share Mish's little story here. He had a friend to come to his house. He asked to invite him in. He asked Mish, invite me in.
Yeah.
And Mish's first response, what are you, a vampire?
Exactly. There we
I thought
go.
that was great.
Mom rules, though, Mish. Mom
Yeah,
rules.
mom's rules.
That's what she says. I have to remember that. No, Mom said no. Exactly.
Mom's.
Exactly. It works. It works.
That's good stuff.
But I love that. And I love how, like many ancient belief systems, how it makes its way to the new world. But, new world has a great way of bringing it to life on screen. Yeah. But even if you're getting into, Nosferatu and things like that, that's very old world still. A lot of that started over there. Mm-hmm. And I was telling you about Wayne when he wrote his book Unnatural Selection, part of the Vampire Tales series, right? It's book 3. Right. There was a story that he found, which he incorporated into the book. I thought it was freaking brilliant. But there was a story, the guy who wrote Nosferatu, I believe, if memory serves me correct, it was his brother, who was in the army, the German army, with a man who told him, or was part of this story, where they had to spend a night. It was raining or it was cold. So they went to a farmer and said, could we please, sleep in the barn? We need to rest and we need shelter. The farmer said to them, yes, you can stay in the barn, but you need to lock the doors and lock yourselves in. And they're like, we're how many men? And we all have guns. We're okay. It's all right. That's all. And the farmer said, your guns will not help you against the things that come around here at night. You don't want them to get into the barn. Like, they're not going to help you. Right. So they sort of, perplexed, but they locked themselves in and reported that the things they heard outside the barn were horrifying, just horrifying. And they said it was like things that they had never heard. Mm. And I'm not going to give away the story, but for those of you reading who have read book 3 or are looking to read book 3, because I know there's people in chat who have, then I don't want to give that away, but see if you can guess it. See if you can guess it. Right. That's where it comes from. So the guy who wrote Nosferatu took it from that story. From that story. Wow. Yeah, it's because like the description and stuff like that. So
that's crazy.
What? Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So Carol Ann adds that it's interesting, let me put that up, that many of these creatures are able to shapeshift, more traditionally into bats and wolves, sometimes into mist. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how they're also able to they have a hypnotic charm, or they can actually literally hypnotize. That's mostly in films. Mm-hmm. Whether that's or the case or not, I mean, if you can, I don't know, let's go back to New Orleans. If you're in a party-like atmosphere and you can corner someone and you are this creature, it wouldn't be that hard to get them to a dark corner. And
it wouldn't. And this is what people allegedly are seeing. Yeah. They're seeing things out of the corner of their eye that doesn't make a lot of sense. Now you're looking at a place, let's face it, New Orleans has been, especially Katrina for one, has been hit by natural disasters enough times you have modern death as well. You have a total different energy there, but it also has a history, where there's a lot has happened on the soil. Yeah. Right. It absorbs a lot of that. People are drawn to it. People from the old world. I mean, the French were there. Mm-hmm. You have different civil wars. You have there's so much that this area has been bombarded with. So haunted as heck. Haunted as heck. There's so much different folklore there because the people have settled into the area, like the Cajuns, right? Like there's so much amazing oral history that is there, and that belief system is phenomenal, like hoodoo, voodoo, everything. I mean, there's a mix of everything, right? zombies. I guess, like, I mean,
Yeah.
real hardcore stuff. So vampires is just another, why not? Like
Why not?
I mean, if they are there, you look at all the tourists that come in and out of there that
Oh my
they
God,
just
I know.
disappear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's going to look? I don't know. Saw him here somewhere. Could have disappeared anywhere. It's a party town. Who knows?
Totally.
I don't know.
Could well be.
Yeah. I know. It's great.
First off, big hi to Spark. He says, pleasure to meet you, Tim, way back. And hi back at you. Charismatic people.
Yes, great comments.
Yeah, fantastic comments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a story from Mel Gibbs from Carol Ann talking to Mel Gibson thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Someone he perceived, he had lunch with someone he perceived as a vampire-like. He recounted individuals having, I've heard this story, almost supernatural way of moving, floating sideways. Oh, I totally remember this story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rather than walking.
Yeah, rather than walking, this person's dressed in black, according to Gibson, sat down beside him in a chair, creating a sense of unease. Yeah.
I know. Especially with Mel's faith.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. You gotta.
I know.
Nope.
I know. But it is fascinating. It just makes you realize that there are things out there, beings out there, that there is no true explanation for it. And these stories still carry on in the old world. They still carry on now here. And let's factor in portals. Let's mind bend a little bit. What if they are an extraterrestrial race that come from someplace dimensionally? I mean, we can't really trace where they come from. We can look at mythology, and there's a lot of mythology that surround extraterrestrials and such. So how do we know they're not travelers who settled?
That could well be. I mean, if you're talking about portals, you could be talking about an interdimensional being from, I don't know, a reality right next door, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure.
You just never really know. But, I mean, that would, that kind of lines up with the jinn, which we're going to talk about in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That they are a race of people that literally live in the dimension next door, and they have lives that parallel ours, but they can see into our world, but we can't see into theirs, which is just interesting. So if the vampires are doing something similar,
yeah, I know, right? So do they? I don't know.
Could be. I mean, if there's an Earth somewhere that was overrun by vampirism, and I don't know, slim pickings in their world, but they go next door.
Yeah.
Buffet. Do vampires have a blood type? Mish asks.
They don't. They're not known to have a blood type. Apparently, they're not known to have a blood type. But do we know for sure? Who knows? I think if you have,
I think it's B positive.
Be positive.
I'd be positive.
Yeah.
Trying to drink my blood.
I think if you are a certain blood type, you can't take in all of these other blood types. Yeah. So, I don't believe from things that I've read that they have a blood type. I don't know.
That's an interesting question, though. I mean, would it be required? Because it's more for them. It's not actually doing a transfusion. They're actually ingesting it.
Yes.
So I don't know that blood type would really matter to them. But yeah,
but
I don't know. Whatever the most anemic blood
having, blood that does not, like people who drink blood. There are those who do. They have this movement. They have donors. It's believed that. You can get really sick from that sort of thing. So there has to be something that some people have a tolerance for to be able to do this. For those who, mind you, those who look for donors are usually looking for their own blood type. I think I could be wrong. I'm not a vampire.
Good to know.
I know.
Thanks
I
for putting
know.
that out there.
I have sort of the same, sleep habits as one. I don't sleep much at all, but yeah. But no. So I don't know. It is very interesting.
It's intriguing. Yeah. Sparky puts forth that many, and we talked about this briefly, many animals do drink blood.
Yes.
And they have low iron immune systems, and they wonder if that's why they need the extra blood. That could be that's kind of along the lines of anemia, and people like I said, I don't have a positive thing on this, but I think you semi-confirmed it. I could be wrong. Or Bram Stoker himself was anemic and actually drank cow's blood.
Yeah, I can't recall on the whole cow's blood thing, but again, Dacre would know. You always go back and check out the Dacre Stoker archives. He's just,
Good to know.
he's just incredible. Just very knowledgeable. Everything
Right.
Brahm, everything such. He even does tours out in Romania, and
Fun.
we looked at collaborating on some things, and then the world went crazy back in 2019, 2020. We're going to ixnay this, but he's back at it now. Does great tours to places that where Brahm spent his time, like in Scotland, writing this story, and then of course he does the tours out in Romania to the locations that are mentioned in Brahm's book. So
that's so much fun.
Definitely check him out if you want to travel. He's definitely somebody you would want to tour with.
Cool. Good to know. Planning my next trip right now.
Yeah, Romania is beautiful. I spent, probably close to 3 weeks there.
Fun. That sounds fun.
I looked at buying a place there, and I couldn't get the realtor to return my message. So I messaged my friend Adriana, who has a show, Negotiating Happiness, here on the network on Mondays, I think 1 p.m. Eastern. Anyway, I said, you can't just message this guy. I want to get this place. It was close to the haunted forest.
Oh, fun.
I want to get this place. Oh yeah, it was very just incredible place. And if it's very inexpensive to, in Europe, in certain countries, especially at the time, because it wasn't all on the euro at that time. It was still on the Romanian currency.
Right.
So I'm like, I want this place. It's just literally close to the haunted forest. And she goes, he's not returning my messaging. But you're freaking Romanian. Yeah, because you're Romanian. Talk to him in Romanian. She goes, I did. I sent an email. I'm like, maybe it's just a tax write-off. They don't want to sell it. I don't know. But it's just it's incredible. It is a place. So many people have asked me about Romania. And it is a place where time has stood still. And when you go to some of these places where, Vlad Tepes, where he lived, how he lived, where he was born, you can get and grasp the whole way of life, that everything he faced when he was there, down to the boyars of Transylvania. They got his father killed, his brother killed, and he switched those tables up and took care of that crap, no problem. So bye-bye. But it made you get the stories of where the places that he dwelled and the things that he did. So when you're looking at, the famous story where he left the cup in the courtyard because he wanted people to have dignity, to be able to drink from this beautiful cup. And then if you stole it, I think the guy who stole it, the person who stole it, got their hands cut off. It's just like, this is for everybody, because he felt that they should have something nice to drink from at the fountain. It was just this sort of a thing. But when you see some of these places, you're just like, this is fascinating. And the mindset of the people. And when you are looking over, the first family estate in Terragoviste, you're standing in a tower which he built, and you're thinking he could see everything. And, this is where we're going to put this whole line of people. But it puts you there. And there's not a lot of places, that if you want to follow the whole alleged vampire thing, because again, I my thoughts differ from that, but it is cool to go into an ancient place where the folklore very much exists, not just with that. I mean, you can go into the commercial places, all the vampire stuff, vampire wine, because Romania is known for its wine. So boy, I gotta drink wine. The vampire bottles and the Dracula bottles, and it's and the touristy side of things. But when you can look at the historical side of things at the same time, it's just fascinating. And it's a great place to go visit.
Good to know. We're going to take a very quick station ID. We'll be back in 15 seconds. This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN talkradio.com. Esoteric programming at its finest. And we're back.
We are. Here we are.
So I called up a couple of photos of what our common modern vampire looks like.
Yes.
Male and female. And for whatever reason, AI gave her only one tooth, so she's a snaggletooth vampire. But this is what we're used to seeing in the films, them feeding, the way they drink from our necks, because that's what the vein is, right? The artery is, right? The carotid artery. So I thought that was... I said vampire drinking, and this is what it gave me. It knew exactly what I was talking about.
See, I would look at a vampire as being much more beastly. It would just rip your neck out. It wouldn't be so delicate, I don't believe. You're looking at a predatorial, more of a predatorial.
Interesting.
My thoughts.
I would say, I don't know. I think there's something to be said for the more modern vampire, like we saw in the Hammer films, that would bite into the neck and was very specific about taking from that one wound more and more and more. So, because if you do rip out the whole throat, that's a lot of wasted food.
Yeah. It could. Well, it is, but you're not always looking to turn someone either or enchant someone. You're looking to, sometimes it's just a quick feed and that's that. So it's not overly delicate. I think film portrayal is a lot different than I think lore. Obviously,
that's true.
Because the vampire is supposed to be enchanting. I'll tell you, one of my, aside from Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman, which for the longest time he was absolutely my favorite vampire. Then I saw Luke Evans.
Okay.
Yes, and when Dracula Untold came out with Luke Evans, the story to me resonated more because it showed him as Vlad. It showed him as having faced to give up one of his sons. Like the historical side of Vlad was coming out on film, just like Bram Stoker's Dracula did. You got snippets of that. But in Dracula Untold, this happens, and then all of a sudden he meets this older vampire. You see where he gets turned. So now you see the vampire lore coming into it, and you see him transitioning. I found that to be so fascinating how it all took place, within the really old world, not, just the Victorian times, but it took place in the 1400s and to modern time, where there he is with his Mina, or his actual wife, not Mina. Like it wasn't that. It wasn't the Bram Stoker version. Yeah. But it was the Vlad Tepes version, and how he followed his love through time. It's just the whole thing fighting his armies against the Turks. Yeah. As an empire. It's just that one resonated more with me, I think, than a lot of the modern vampire stories.
Interesting. I can agree with that assessment too. That was very thorough. I did appreciate that, historically speaking.
Yes. It was a good show. Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, give it a look, folks. I may revisit that myself tonight.
I know. Me too. Oh no! Wait, I have a show.
You have a show. Sorry, you can't do that.
Yes, that's not
okay. Tonight.
It'll be a great show. So,
I like that. Mish asks, could a vampire drink from you and not know it? Like sleep drinking?
I know. Oh boy, I'd know it.
Yeah, someone would know it. Like a psychic vampire they continue. That's a good question, possibly. I mean, are you suggesting then that blood-sucking vampires are also energy vampires at the same time?
I remember reading a story once about a man who was attacked by some sort of a specter. Okay, because this was all invisible. Like he didn't see it. He just knew like something was touching him. And when he was sort of in a state of half sleep, not sure, am I dreaming? I'm aware something's going on, but am I in this sleep state? And he woke up with little puncture marks and droplets of blood coming down. So that's what I thought, bat. But the holes were just bigger than a small, like when a little bat swings by and bites you, it's so fast. It's your little razor sharp teeth. You have a little bit of it's not punctures per se. Like it's really like a fly-by, zip-by, get a little drink.
Almost like a razor cut versus a puncture, yeah.
Yes, exactly. But he woken up and this is what was there. There were puncture marks.
Okay.
And he said, he goes, I dreamt something. He goes, I knew it felt like I was being like something was on me, touching me. He goes, but being in a sleep state, didn't think about it really. And didn't really feel it a whole lot, but again, thought a little bit of pressure, and in the morning, and this is what he saw. I read this probably about 5 years ago. It's a story that's just probably
how
floating
old is
around.
the story itself?
I don't know. You know what? I was coming across it. Because I'm always researching things, and this was just, I've always loved like vampires. I was probably researching something on, Vlad, probably around the time where, Dacre came on, did his first show with me. But anyway, this was just one of those side stories. I'm going, God, this is interesting. But but there just didn't seem to be enough substance with it to cross-reference or anything like that. And always researching the paranormal, things come up all the time, right? So I don't know, but I thought now, having researched so much more, I thought, what an intriguing story, because I do believe that everything connects. And if we are dealing with, let's say, a dimensional or multidimensional, interdimensional race of beings, if we're dealing with extraterrestrials, it kind of makes sense in a way.
Yeah.
If they're sort of kind of wandering through. It's an interesting theory. It's an interesting theory. You can hypothesize many different things, but
for sure,
he claimed it happened.
That's pretty intriguing. Yeah. There was a I can't remember if it was. I guess it was a documentary. It may have even been like one of the first episodes of something along the lines of Ancient Aliens. That doesn't really make sense, but it was something along those lines, one of those types of shows where they're exploring the strange and the weird and unusual and all that. And there was an anthropologist, and they were saying, no, it wasn't an anthropologist. I know what it was. It was an anthropological biologist. So they look at the entire spectrum of our biology, but they're saying, okay, so human beings became pretty much the apex predator at a certain point in time. But that then leaves open for a super predator to be in place. And that the vampire actually technically has a place in our the hierarchy of life on Earth to be a super predator of humans. So there's a need for it. At the biological level, which I found super fascinating.
It is fascinating. Yeah. It is, because again, it's a really old lore.
I mean, it makes you think like our ancestors at one point somewhere had to see something that was making that story come to life. They saw someone doing something somewhere.
I think that's part of it, because folklore comes from sightings, it comes from stories, but it comes from somebody somewhere saw something,
right?
Probably more than once, and it's sort of just kept lingering around. The fact, that when you're looking at the indigenous cultures throughout the world, even on this side of the world, getting into the Native American cultures and such, that they have their own stories. It's just worded differently. Like if we look at the werewolf, just touch for 1 second, just for names, because that's a whole other show in itself. But You look in France, where it was very rampant, very widespread and well known in Germanic areas, things like that. It was called, like werewolves or loup-garou. You come here to, come into North America, Canada, it's loup-garou. Loup in French is wolf. But if you're coming down to New Orleans, they spin that off the Cajuns. It's roux with an R. Oh, you loup-garou.
Yeah.
But the Native American people all talk about loup-garou, and how the wolves, again, like much like what we see up in North America, walked upright. They're very different from what we call dogmen.
Yeah.
The dogman is more like the werewolf, big, robust, like different than the rougarou or the loup-garou. It's very, very insane how things vary, but the concept is so similar. And I believe a lot of it is the same with vampires.
That could very well. I mean, that kind of tracks with something else I saw. Someone was doing a historical deep dive somewhere about where, parts of our history were just kind of, we'll take that part out.
Yeah.
And they were saying, well, one of the things are, as some of our ancestors, or I guess founders, whatever you want to call the first people that came to this part of the world from Europe, they were hearing stories about and actually witnessing people known as dog-headed men. Dog-headed men.
Yeah.
And they're running around as all cool dog-headed men, giants on the, way over there, that type of thing. So, I mean, it was happening with such abundance, apparently, that the locals said, that's everyday life around here. But when the Europeans come over, it's like, oh my God, we have to stop this.
Yeah. Well, there's so much out there that I don't think we're ever, the old tales go far and wide and vary based on belief systems and cultures and so on. It's just crazy what's out there, but the concept is the same. So, it started somewhere.
It started somewhere. Yeah. And I think, well, my partner in Scary, JJ, I had her on a couple weeks ago. She is of the mind that all of our dogman / werewolf experiences are multidimensional. They're coming through, they're crossing over somehow, some way.
Well,
possibly.
There are theories with that. It's believed that, like, I'll use the haunted forest for one. There have been werewolf sightings up there. In fact, with Romania, they have as much folklore with the wolves as they do with vampires, which is interesting. Yeah. When I was in Brasov, and funny because a lot of the Germanic places had the werewolf lore as well, like heavy, Yeah. But what was interesting is Brasov is has a lot of German people that go back there from the time of the war. Like it's very, it's very, very German with the decor, everything. It's crazy. But there is the belief that if you come down on the full moon into the courtyard, that the wolves come down from the mountains. I was in the haunted forest the night of the full moon. So I had like, whoa, which one do I do? But we're already scheduled to be in the haunted forest. So that's where we ended up. But it's very fascinating. But if you use, let's just say portals, let's just use the theory of the haunted forest, because there has been the theory that, wolves have been seen there as well. There is a portal. There's something because you could hear it.
You can hear it.
You can hear it. It's like a droning sound. It's sort of like it hums a little bit. It's crazy. Like you hear it. After a while, you become conditioned to it, but it's crazy. And then you've got all these crazy crooked trees. So there's something that's manipulating that, right? A lot of UFOs have been spotted by locals. They've captured photos, big orbs moving through the forests. I mean, aside from just your environmental stuff, but let's hypothetically say that you had, vampires coming through portals or any type of being. Okay. Is it possible? And I'll tell you, I'm going with it. in a moment, is it possible that maybe wolves guard the portal? And why I say that is there's something to be said for filmmaking. Sometimes the filmmakers throw little hints in there.
Hmm.
And if you look at, for example, getting into why am I'm brain shooting again? Film with Celine, the wolves,
Oh, yeah, I know
you
what you're
know,
talking about. I'm blanking
there's,
too.
it's not just me, thank gosh. But the wolves were being used as guardians during
Yeah.
the day to
The whole
guard
underworld.
the underworld. The whole
Yeah.
underworld was the whole underworld series. So I mean, I had that presented to me one time, and I was speaking with another researcher on a paranormal level, and they said, "Do you ever think that maybe they're there? That there's this relationship between the two of them because they're just sort of similar on some levels. Do you think it's something?" And I thought, gosh, I never really thought about it, but it's obviously some hypothesis that's floating around out there.
Yeah. Well, that's also been in our lore for a very long time, that werewolves and vampires sometimes cooperate and sometimes don't.
Exactly.
That's also going back thousands of years.
And you see it in so many different stories as
Oh
well.
yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I love when theories are presented because, you think it comes from somewhere, and filmmakers do have a way of putting in that little bit of those little hints of something, saying maybe you should look here. Maybe it's not all made up.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So I'd like to think so, because I do find it interesting, that especially in the old world, still some of these places still truly believe that these things exist. And I think it depends on the generation. And I'll give you another example. When I was in Egypt, we had different guides that would take us to different places. And I remember we had this elderly man who was one of our guides to take us, through the Giza plateau. And I said, just putting it out there, what are your thoughts on the curse of Tutankhamun? Well, oh, yes, this is a thing. You need to be careful with things like that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, noted. Okay. But when we had a younger guide, he's just like, he goes, yeah, the older generation truly believe in all of these things. And he goes, you open up an old tomb, what do you think's going to happen? It's full of smells and could be anything ancient. And I thought, see, that's logic to me. And it's easy for me to wrap my head around. But being a paranormal person now, I can kind of think, but maybe.
Just maybe.
Well, if you believe in a curse, you definitely you add power to it for sure. So I don't know. It's all interesting stuff, but I imagine the same thing applies to some of all of this folklore as well.
I
Good
agree.
healthy belief in it, and it's sort of what keeps it all circling around, aside from from films as well.
Film stories, books.
The first book I ever read, I think I was like 8 or 9 years old. I was a weird kid. I read Dracula, the full big book, Dracula.
Really, the original? Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was the first book I ever read. My mom was just like, I found it on the shelf, and now I own an original copy.
Fun!
Yeah, I cherish it. But yeah, my mom's like, you're a weird child. Found it on there. My aunt, it's just we had like a small library area, and I was just like, found it. I read it. I was intrigued with it, and that was it. And then I started getting into learning more about the actual man, the prince, not so much this. Like I connected all the dots even at that age.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I was just a weird kid. So I don't know what to say.
I read Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, it's great. Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. I love that stuff. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I got a kink in my neck.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Who was friends with Bram Stoker, apparently.
Yes, and many people. Yeah.
Harry Houdini too. Apparently.
I know. And I mean, and look at Harry Houdini. He was just so involved in the whole spiritual movement of trying to debunk.
He was a big time debunker. Yeah, absolutely.
But you're in Victorian times. That was huge back then.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I love it. So I mean, I look at films now. Who's your favorite? Like your favorite, vampire. I mean, let's face it. We all kind of grew up. I think we grew up in the era of, the Friday night all-nighter horror movies.
Oh, for
My
sure.
dad felt he had to like, oh, here you are. You're just so young, you're like 12. I'm gonna stay up all night with you and watch it. Meanwhile, dad's in a lazy boy sacked out, and I'm just like this, totally into all the old black and white horror movies.
For
And
sure.
Dracula was always my favorite.
Oh,
Always.
me too. Yeah, especially Bela Lugosi's Dracula. He was, I mean, the Universal Dracula got a little corny, no, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you can't knock Bela Lugosi. He did
Bela
a
was awesome.
fantastic job.
He was one of my favorite.
Yeah. Well, and he was also from the region, if I remember
He
correctly.
was.
So
Yeah.
he knew it. I mean, he knew what to throw in there, what to keep, what to throw away.
The accent
Children
was
of the light
perfect.
pants, he says.
Yeah. That was one. It was great. I'll tell you though, I mean, Christopher Lee was
Oh,
also,
Hammer Films. Yes.
yeah. He was one of my favorites after Bela Lugosi, because
Absolutely.
this man was an occultist. He was a musician. He spoke all these different
He
languages.
was a spy.
He was a spy,
Great stuff.
and yeah, and he knew Tolkien.
He knew Tolkien, which is fantastic. I think. And then he was in the movie.
Tolkien wanted him to play Gandalf, and he was just too old, so he ended up playing, Saruman. I thought, okay, he was brilliant as Saruman.
Still, he still kicked ass. That was amazing.
He knew everybody. He just was like amazing. I think he knew Rasputin as well. Like he just knew.
He knew a lot of crazy people.
He
Yeah.
did. Like he didn't just act it. He lived it. But he played it incredible.
He did.
I
He
liked
really
it as
did.
well.
He was amazing. Just
Hello,
amazing.
Sue.
Hello to Sue.
Yeah. Oh, from Dublin. Thank
from
you so much for
Dublin.
being
Love
here.
it. I probably messed up your accent. I'm sorry.
Don't try to accent anybody. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Sparky. Yes.
Yes.
Sub, hit, like, comment, share. That's what I always say. Yeah. And thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, really, very much
Chat room
so.
makes it so much more fun. You guys are just awesome.
Yes.
I expect to see you all in my chat room tonight. Just saying.
Right, exactly. Don't forget
I know.
Michelle.
Yeah. Yeah.
We kind of veered off course and got into film.
The film. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. Well, I'm a filmmaker too. In fact, I just finished a film. Well, I was kind of like the DP on it. It was a friend's project, and they filmed at my house.
Nice.
Yeah. And so my house was movie set for a little while. That was fun.
That's all.
But it was interesting just to be, and you're right. There is a lot of things that filmmakers put into the works. Now there's also, in your larger budget, it's mostly outside the independent spectrum, but in the larger, like Hollywood or BBC or whatever, what's the Canadian version of CBC?
Oh, it's terrible. Don't advertise that. No, we have, No,
who puts out your movies though?
Oh, our films? Oh, I mean, we have Travel Channel does a lot of the movies. We have different networks. I don't actually have Canadian television. I have American television.
Okay, so we'll stick with Hollywood.
I have
for
like
now.
DT, yeah. So,
But Hollywood films have always had that little, like you were saying, there's that little tidbit that the filmmakers put in to kind of.
Yeah.
Oh,
Golly. It's true. There's things to make you, wonder for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find sometimes when you're looking at newer films, there's so much put into the graphic of everything that you forget the story. I used to love you go back into, for example, the old Dracula, Bela Lugosi. There were no theatrics, but you really kind of sat on the edge of your seat because of the way he presented himself and lurked around the corner, and you're kind of like, cool.
Yeah.
You knew exactly like you should be feeling terrified at
Right.
that moment.
Right.
Then you get into the like 70s shows like blood spatter everywhere. It's like, oh, for God's sakes, where's imaginative stuff,
Yeah. Gone.
Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. But it definitely, I love shows even like Van Helsing. I love things that take place in like with the old world settings and just again you're mixing the wolves and the vampires and they just seem to be the two beings that go hand in hand.
They
Even
do,
even
don't they?
back in the 70s, they were putting Dracula meets the mummy. Like
Oh yeah.
you
Oh, they did
had
that in the
you were
'40s
mixing.
with
Yeah,
Evan Costello. They met the mummy, the werewolf, the
I know.
Wolfman, rather,
I know.
Dracula, Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
They met everyone.
Yes. Yes. Now it was fascinating though. I love the old films and they're getting creative and now you have AI. So who's to know
Who's the
what's going to
yeah?
come of that? But you know,
That would be interesting to. Well, not really, because I'm fooling with AI right now just for different
mhm,
elements of my filmmaking, not the
mhm,
filmmaking itself, but
mhm,
elements of it.
mhm.
And it never like I just point, I just showed this on to the stage again. So here's my snaggletooth vampire that AI
Yeah.
created.
Yeah. That's just
I
funny.
was like, you
Leaves
didn't
out one tooth. That's good.
quite get it right, but you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
So it's still learning.
Yes.
I guess
It's
you
still
can say.
doing its thing. Yeah.
We're still gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm helping a friend with the documentary as far as editing goes, and he's doing this thing where he's going back in time, and part of his research tips into Nazi Germany.
Mhm.
And we had this one clip that we just did. For those who don't know what a Ken Burns in is, that's when you have an image
Mhm.
and you zoom in on the image or you pull out from the image depending
Mhm.
on what the vibe is of the thing.
Mhm.
But now with AI, we can actually animate photos.
Mhm.
And we had this one photo. I don't know who took it,
Mhm.
but it was part of the whole Holocaust thing. And the prisoners are being loaded onto a train. And he
Mhm.
says, do you think AI can animate that? Because we just got a system. We just got a little piece of software.
Mhm.
And I says, I don't know. So
Yeah.
we tried it, and it was freaky how accurate that animation was. The way people walked, the way the crowd shuffled, and
Mhm.
it was freaky accurate. It
Mhm.
looked accurate, I
It
should say.
just can't seem to get all of the digits right, for
Yeah,
example. You can always
or
tell.
they're missing like
Yeah, like the
Snaggletooth
tooth.
Fang.
Yeah, there you go. See, there we go. Exactly. So I don't know, but I think it's got a bit of a ways to come yet. But
Yeah.
mind you, there are people who would not even know the difference. I mean, you see people quite confused by it. Things that are being presented out there, it's got to be AI. And it's like look for the imperfection because
Right.
that's
Oh, yeah.
you know,
It's pretty.
yeah,
I saw this one clip. People were just so sure that this
yeah,
was a UFO parked off some little tiny independent municipal airport somewhere in
hmm
in the U.S.
hmm
And but if you look at it, it's like no, someone's just moving the picture around.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. We live in this is what is going to get really scary is we live in this the age of digital or AI and I mean it was hard enough, just to be able to see what's real, what's not real. Now
Yeah,
it's just going to keep getting better and better. And you'd be
that's
looking at, false flags and am I really seeing what I'm seeing?
right, right.
And there's a lot of that's happening right now.
Well, there's a lot of, and this kind of goes back to the whole lore thing. I mean, a lot of
Yes.
people are. I remember a show. Oh my gosh, who's that? Who's that guy who's a former FBI agent? He's done a bunch of paranormal shows. He's a UFO chaser of some sort or
I
another.
ca-
Do you
I
know what I'm
can't.
talking about?
I keep track.
I can't remember his name. He
It's
has a
hard.
really basic name too.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to kick myself when I look it up later. It's like, how could I forget that? But anyway,
Mm.
he was part of this team that debunked and or otherwise, I guess, debunked videos that came in.
Mhm.
And one of them, I can't believe they ever put this on the air. It was a video out of the UK where someone was driving past a playground
Mhm.
around dusk. And you see this creature that looked kind of like a storybook goblin,
Oh,
big pointy ears and kind of hunched over.
yeah.
And it runs up the stairs, looks back at the camera, and then hops off the back end. And it was obvious CGI. I mean,
Yeah.
there was just
Yeah.
obvious. It was cartoonish,
Right.
And
Right.
they played into it. It's like, gosh, I don't know. That looks kind of real to me. It's like, you're kidding me. That's like,
Yeah.
so they actually wasted like whatever that show allowed, like 10 or 15 minutes to investigate
Figure it out.
the clip.
Yeah.
And, they finally
Yeah.
came around to
Yeah.
the fact that, no, that was fake because their expert had to hop on.
Oh my
It
God.
was a digital video,
Oh.
enhancement expert. And it's like, oh, come on. I mean, that you can eyeball that one. It's like they're running into
I
things.
think you're going to see a lot more of that. But
Yeah.
I just think, use your common sense. It's really tough because whether you believe in something or you don't believe in something, there are people, I'll notice this sometimes, on different platforms where people get really ornery about it. No, can't do this, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, whether you believe it or you don't believe it, it's good to have a healthy mind because
Yeah.
there's so much out there that we don't know about. And whatever the case may be, I don't know, maybe you can chime in on that or anybody in chat, but I think with all of these additional frequencies that we have going on, that it tends to open up doors quite easily. And I also believe that as people start searching with the intention of wanting these answers, the combination of all of that, because I really believe in a strong intention and being able to manipulate or create law of
Sure.
attraction, or whether it be just being able to manifest, whatever the case may be, it's happening. And things are happening that people are kind of going, wait a minute, that's a thing. Or are we manifesting it, or are our energy combined with how frequencies manipulate our own energy, that kind of thing? Is it just creating awareness, or is it just actually, people, it's hard to open a portal. I've seen people do it all the time. They're not even aware that they do it, and it's really not hard. It's just energy manipulation for the most part. So
Yeah.
things are happening, and now people are starting to witness things.
And more people have cameras for that to at the ready. I mean, it's in their
on
back
top
pocket
of
now.
everything else.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
So I'm totally okay with that. That's fantastic. I like that we can go, oh my gosh, look at that. There was another such clip that I actually found credible. And again, we're not on vampires anymore, but we're still in lore.
We're still in the lore. Yeah, we can go with that. Yeah.
But there was this guy, you probably saw it, that was on Instagram.
Yeah.
This guy's hiking through the forest, and he kind of stops, and you see this orangey hair kind of poking up behind a log, and there's a tree. There's a log right in front of the tree. I'll do it this way so you can see. So there's a log, and there's a tree, and there's all this orange fur sitting there. It's like, what the heck is that? Is that a kill? Someone kill something over there? And then it sits up and it ended up being a big Sasquatch.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And then he hauled butt. It was great. And I watched that at least a dozen times, just trying to pick it apart. And I couldn't do it.
No, man, there are things out there that it's insane. But you know what? I love that it's happening. I do. I love that it's happening. I don't think people should just fall for everything, obviously. But but I think having a healthy, open mind is really important. It's just like, don't foo-foo everything off like it's nothing because you can't get your head around it, and you haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
Don't belittle it for the people who are presenting it. Don't belittle it for other people who may have a more open mind to it, just because you're not there yet. Take a step back and go, yeah, it's not for me. Walk off, and go from there. Just don't be so, nope, can't do this. Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
but because I love the idea. There's that sense of wonderment. I mean, I like that I can go back in time in my own life and sit there at 8 years old, 9 years old, and read this incredible book that opened up a door for me, paved the way for me to have an interest enough to get into history, get into this crazy, what is this Dracula? What is this vampire? What is all of this? To visit a homeland where I could piece together the folklore and the history and look at the scenery in real life and go, I'm 8 years old again. And this is freaking awesome. Right? But I love going back in time, and I'm watching all night horror movies Friday, once a month, with my father sleeping in the lazy boy because he couldn't make it up past an hour because they started at midnight. I want to go back there again. I'm glad that it has created those memories for me to be able to just be that kid again and just look with wonderment. I don't want that taken away. Now I can look at it with the stuff and the research I've done, which I've presented today, a little bit of it anyway, where we could sit there and go, God, Count Saint Germain, this is a guy, an alchemist. You start getting into alchemy, there's another whole show.
Oh, I know.
Get into alchemy, and Einstein's going, yeah, I may have proved this right. So now you got Einstein going, Count Germain knew what he was doing.
That's amazing.
Do you see what I mean, though? How it all wraps around, and how you can look at all these different hypotheses and go,
yeah. I mean,
this could
it seems like we're coming up as much. We create a lot of questions keep coming up too, but we're getting more and more answers, more and more rapidly. Yeah, and which I'm thrilled about. I mean, and we're challenging this old state of mind that just doesn't exist. Well,
how do you know it doesn't?
Exactly right.
Because I don't necessarily want some schmuck sitting there going, I can't handle that. Well, you know what? You're not taking my 8-year-old memory away when I was 8 years old. Buzz off.
I like what Sparky had to say here, that an open mind and an investigator and a skeptic all at the same time. Yeah, that's pretty much what a paranormal investigator is.
I mean, you have to. You can't take everything at face value. Yeah. But don't just discount it because
exactly.
What I would say is if something comes back with a question mark and it's definitive no. If it comes back with a question mark that says, I have all these eyewitness accounts, it's because you haven't seen it, if it comes back with a question mark, to me, that leaves room for improvement. It leaves room for further research. That's good enough for me. Eventually, if it's there, you'll figure it out. And if not, it's just that, again, the whole ability to be able to keep digging.
Keep digging. I like that. Keep digging. Absolutely.
Instead of investigators, I don't know. I mean, I've heard people call themselves, paranormal archaeologists. Digging deep.
Yeah. Well, there's a ton of research in our job. I mean, a ton.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just, it's one of those, this is just one of those things that, if you come from certain parts of the world, they will tell you wholeheartedly that these are things that exist, whether it be the vampire, whether it be, werewolves, like so many different aspects that leave the door open for, this could very well be a thing. Ethereal beings of all sorts. I mean, you look at people who come from places from Ireland, for example, England, places like that. No, fairies are there. And who are definitively, you have them. Nope, we've seen them. They're there. And then we come to this side of the world. Also, people say, no, we've seen fairies all the time, like in real time, not just in remote viewing or psychically. And so it's kind of like, there's a belief there. We haven't seen them, but how do you discount what so many other people have seen?
Yeah, I mean there is some interesting proof, especially around fairies. I was
Yeah.
actually gonna have Sue Mulligan
Mhm.
on the chat here do a little verification for me that in Ireland they
Mhm.
will, if someone says they saw the little people or something like that in a specific spot,
Mhm.
Ireland will seal that spot off as, not
Mhm.
literally, but
Yeah.
sometimes literally, but that
Yeah.
becomes a landmark. You cannot touch or build
No,
that
they get
ever.
ornery. I remember reading an article, and I believe it was in one of the Scandinavian countries. I was sure it was Norway, and they were building a highway,
Mhm.
and there was this big tree and gnomes. No, I'm not a
Oh.
fan of the gnomes, but I'm just going to put it out there anyway. So gnomes started sabotaging the work site. So what happened was the community decided we're going to go around this tree. So you had a lane on each side that went around the tree, and everything stopped.
That's
The
amazing.
gnomes they just let them be because didn't want the tree dealt with. So it's the same idea, and
Yeah.
you hear stories like this all over certain parts of the world. It's
Yeah.
kind of like you realize how widespread these little ethereal beings are, that they're
Yeah. It's incredible. It's
right.
incredible.
Yep, sure is. So I don't know.
We're gonna cut off a little bit early today, so we have about 10 minutes left, give or
Hmm.
take.
Hmm.
Just to let everyone know. So if you have any questions regarding what we've discussed today, now's a perfect time to throw them up in the chat. I probably could have used a better term than throw up, but I didn't.
Yeah. Toss them up, people.
Yeah, there
Toss
you
them up. So uh but tonight in the outer realm, we can go there.
go. Excellent.
Our fellow UPRN host Sean Kelly is going to be popping in tonight to talk about all the high strangeness in Pennsylvania. One of my favorite states is Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I mean, I always fall in love with many of the places I go to, but I can't tell you how many places I've been to in Pennsylvania. Like just incredible weirdness. Aside from Gettysburg, like
Oh,
Jim Thorpe. Have
Gettysburg
you
is
ever been to
majestic.
Jim Thorpe out that
No,
way? Oh,
no.
oh, you got to go to Jim Thorpe. Like
Okay, I'll go to Jim
the
Thorpe.
haunted places in Jim Thorpe is like they have like an old prison there, which
Hmm.
was very big in the time of the unions, and they people were killed there. People were just so much chaos in this place, and they have this one jail cell. Well, there's this handprint that was up there from a union guy that was put in there, and it never goes away. They have tried painting over it.
Oh
They've done
yeah.
everything, and you walk in, you see it there. It's kind of like, and you just walk through the place. I was given like a private grand tour, which I was really humbled by, but it's like, yay. And God, the whole place just resonates. Like you go through the living quarters, like upstairs, a really
Uh,
old building, but the whole town is like that.
oh, crazy. That's cool.
It is amazing. Honestly, it's one of those little hidden gems
Very
that
cool.
are, yeah, very, very cool. So we're gonna be talking about, different things like that. So I can't wait. Yeah. Yeah, I
That
love Sean. He's great, Heidi. He's
is
great.
awesome. And Mish is taking a trip. It looks like she's road tripping. So
Road tripping. Ooh,
road
better be
tripping. So
someplace fun.
travel safe, man. That.
Yes. 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 And
That's right.
be in the chat tonight. And you're a champ when you do, because I know it's like late for you.
Where's Mish located?
I believe Australia.
Oh, crazy.
I know. Get some good stories coming out of there.
Oh, there's some crazy stories out of
Yes.
Australia. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
all
My
kinds
daughter
of
lived
stuff.
there for a while, and she would just be like, this is going on and this is going on. I'm like, God, I'm not really
There's something
envious.
about like a phantom, uh, not soldiers. I want to say like a tribe, like a phantom tribe or something like that walks along this one
That's
part of the
crazy.
coast somewhere.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like the phantom tribes people in Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
They drum. And I can't remember the
I know what you
name
mean.
exactly because I'm having one of those days. I'm usually much more on
You've been
cue.
busy today.
Oh. 2 days, right? Just cray cray. That's just cray cray. Need stuff to get resolved. The technology side of this business here.
Good
But
times.
yes, so but here we are making it all work and having this
Woohoo.
good time talking about vampires of ancient lore and how it just squeaks into modern times. And I think if you want to have a vampire experience, I would say New Orleans, because
Yeah.
Joe, you asked Joe Montaldo, the owner of the station, who lives there and spends a lot of time in the quarter, is just sort of like, you know what, boy, oh boy, there are sightings. Anne Rice often spoke about her city, New
Yeah.
Orleans, and wrote some of the best stories on vampires that we've been
Yeah.
graced with,
For sure.
So
For sure.
yeah, I know. So I love it. So this was fun.
This was a blast.
Yeah.
I
I
guess
bounced around a bit, but it all came full circle.
it did.
All
We did.
blended.
It's okay. I'm
Everything
okay.
connects. Everything connects. There's one thing
Yes.
I have learned. Everything connects in one
It
form or
does.
another.
It does.
Oh, they are.
So on
It says
that
right there what they are.
note.
Sorry.
Oh, Phantom Aboriginal Tribe sightings from 1900 1920. Thanks for putting that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm producing.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, they would literally I think it was like nightly or something. They'd just walk across the coast.
I'm all about that. I would love to see something like that. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. It's really good. That reminds me of Gettysburg, where you see the cannoneers loading the cannons that are still there. The ghost cannoneers. Oh, no.
I love Gettysburg. I've been
Gettysburg
a couple of
is
times. It's just one of those
great.
places.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's messed up. It's cool, though.
Well, we were at this one restaurant and somebody came running out of the one across the street saying there was just a ghost soldier standing in this restaurant with all these people in the middle of the day. I'm like, damn it, I'm on the wrong side of the road.
With the wrong restaurant. Darn it.
Right. This is like in the middle of the summer when it's busy and everything is going on, and there's this apparition, and all these people are coming out of this little restaurant going, oh my God, like they all have this sighting. It's like the $1 million sighting.
Yeah, I know. And you weren't there.
No.
I've
But
had that
that's
happen
okay.
before, too.
Yeah. I'm all about it. Anyway, that was it.
Fantastic. So I guess we'll cut out a little bit early. I know we're having some technical issues with the StreamYard, so we're going to let Michelle handle that. So, ladies and gentlemen in the chat and abroad watching us, thank you so much for joining us. Big thank you to Michelle for being on the show. Thank you so much, Michelle. Michelle, tell everyone where we can find you.
Well, tonight you're going to find me on the Outer Realm with my guest Sean Kelly. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern, and of course every Wednesday and Thursday night. And Beyond the Outer Realm, the spin-off show, which is probably about 3 months old, and that is on Tuesday afternoons, 2 p.m. Eastern, and lots of amazing guests. So you get the same old,
When am I going to be a guest on your show?
Same old entertaining me.
I love it.
So, yeah. Good times.
I'm teasing you.
Yes.
Taurus Girl joined us.
Yep.
We're leaving.
I know. Sorry. But stick around for Carol Ann. If you're
Stick around for Carol Ann. Absolutely. So we'll
We'll
cut out now, and I'll say goodnight. And thank you very much, everyone, for watching and listening. We'll see you next time on Paranormal Insight. If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com.